So, today's agenda, I'm gonna talk about customer persona outreach, basically reaching out to the persona, or you know, how you define a persona. For many people, it might be, uh, you know, I want to reach out to a CEO who has a 50 plus employee size company and who is in software, right? So that is persona. That is what we're gonna talk about initially. Then we're gonna also do a small LinkedIn demo on how we do it. I'm going to also give you a clip of how whatever we do it at scale using AI. So initially, I'm going to talk about the main principles. AI multiplies them, but AI does not translate them. But once you understand the principle of what we do to get attention from a ideal persona, then we scale it using AI. That I'm going to show you, and hopefully that helps. So the title of this presentation is Getting Your First Customers. And today, like I told you, I would like you to guys to focus on the single flow of to basically get attention from the people you want to sell to, get some conversations. Okay. Conversations done, because that will be very important. No one is going to give you money or more attention if you don't. Especially in B2B, business to business sales, you need to make sure you have a conversation with them. Without that, they won't either get into a pilot or won't test your app or product. And of course, these are the three main things. Then you learn and repeat, which is the more important thing. Okay. So the plan for the next 60 minutes, I'll try to keep it way shorter than that, is what we will cover is why startups fail. Okay. And the role of marketing in that, the customer loop, the client loop also, like how do you find people, how do you message to them, how do you talk to them, and how you kind of convince them for pilot. But I'm going to a little bit more focus towards the first two angles, because I think you guys know better about your idea or your app. um, Third part is a very critical function. It is what do you um, how do you write a message that feels personal, so that the other person feels that you have written something personal and they try to respond to you. Again, how to ask for a pilot. If you're a B2B company, then we'll talk about directly how you can get into a sales conversation. But if you're a B2C idea or a startup, we'll talk about how do you ask for an interview to get feedback fast. Because generally, your methods to acquire the client would be more towards like Facebook ads or some sort of viral marketing, Instagram promotions, etc. Last is I'm going to do a LinkedIn demo of how we do it for LinkedIn, but you can do the same thing over email, which people say cold email. Okay. Uh, Very quickly, who am I? I help startups get more clients. Generally, my startups are post product market stage. What I do is I build sophisticated outreach systems. I'm going to show you one, so that will do. And once I build the outreach system, the outreach to the prospect is done via LinkedIn. And of course, this will be, of course, a small teaser of what we do. If anyone is interested, they can go on YouTube and search my company name, which is Bizamps. And whatever the sophisticated systems I'm talking about, they can see it for themselves. Okay, so why this might matter to you guys is that, first of all, sometimes people have this notion that they need permission to start talking to customers. You don't need permission. How do you reach out? That's what we're going to talk about. Second, whenever you're reaching out to someone for either asking for a pilot or even an interview, whenever you want someone's time, attention, or money, okay, uh, you will need to do some sort of outreach and write a message. If they like the message only, then they're gonna, start having conversation with you and start scheduling a time for any activity that you want from your target customer. Um, and of course, once people pay attention to you, getting money or getting traction will become easier. It will not become easy. It will just become a little easier. Okay. Very quickly, this is why we do this. So most companies don't die because the idea is bad. They die because they run out of cash. So, example, you can have a really bad idea, but if you have a lot of money in the bank, you can sustain that business for 5 years. You can have a great idea and no cash, and you will you you will run out of business. Okay, so now getting cash is step number two. Step number one is getting attention. If you can't get people to pay you attention, it will be very difficult for you to get any kind of cash from them to prove a revenue model. Okay, so first step is getting attention. How do you go about it? And what are my best practices? How we do it? By the way, whatever I'm gonna teaching you here is the same thing I have used to first of all build my own business and also help my clients. Okay. So your first job is to get attention and conversations. And out of those conversations, if you're a B2B company, try to get a pilot uh, and see how it goes. Everything else comes later. Okay, so this is the loop, what we call. You find the right person, step number one. You find them on their database tools online. If you want, I'm going to talk about them. You message them or email them. So basically, you contact them. You try to have a long conversation so that you can bind them in to help you, um, or maybe do a pilot with you and you repeat it. Also, just if no one knows what a pilot is a small test that prove your idea helps. Even the large, big. So if someone has to sell a $3 million contract to a company, uh, like if you go to a bank and you're trying to sell something of $1 million, what will happen is they will not start with $1 million contract right off the gate. They will start with a $30,000 project, and it might take just 2-3 years to get to the final ticket size you want to. But the initial small test is called the pilot, which proves that you work. I was going through some uh, I was going through some ideas that you guys have. So someone was talking about rescue boxes. Um, so see if you guys can do 10 rescue boxes from each restaurant per day. Um, if someone was talking about appointments, setting up rides, see if you can get people to have some rides a day. So these are small pilots with small people. Okay. Uh, and once you do the pilot, after the pilot, see if people are happy to pay. Okay. Many times people will not re-engage. If someone is not re-engaging with the service or does not want to re-engage, so that will be an issue. Okay. So now when we are reaching out to people, uh, we have to scale our messaging when we're doing the outreach. But whatever we are scaling, there's a rule of thumb that don't scale um, until you know what works. Okay. So what that means is if you're doing 100 LinkedIn messages to your ideal persona, if you don't get even one positive reply, then you should not scale it. 1% reply rate is minimum. I'm going to show you how we track it, everything else. But that is part number one. If no one replies, if let's say you reach out to 100 people and no one replies, that is your reply that your message doesn't work. Okay, so you have to change either the who you are targeting or change your message or angle. Okay, just allow me 1 second. I'll close the door. Guys, I'm not really sure. Am I going too fast, too slow? Can anyone give me a quick heads up because I can't see the people I'm presenting it to?
Give me a thumbs up if we're good.
Okay.
We got we
Yes. Okay. That's a resounding yes. Okay, that gives me a little bit of confidence. Okay. Uh, okay. So when you go into the corporate world, you will hear this word a lot called the ICP. They will say, "Hey, who is your ideal client persona?" Which is basically who are the right people who will use your service. Okay. So, but if I talk about ICP, ideal client persona is like who you're targeting. That's the right people you want to target. The other way, who exactly is whatever you're doing is for. So one bad way to do it is, for example, if you say, hey, everyone can use my thing or an app, or if it's for students, you might say it's for all students or it's for all businesses, it's for all hospitals. So whenever you do broad targeting, you will see it will not work. And you can try it if you don't believe this, but you will see whenever you see there is a power with constraints. Whenever you constraint your targeting, you kind of focus it, and whenever you focus, whatever you focus on tends to have a better outcome. So whenever you're doing something broad, it will be bad. So figure first of all, figure out who your ideal client persona is. So a better way to say it is, I was seeing through again some of them that it might be, hey, we're going only after restaurants, not not cloud kitchens. So dining operations manager at only, let's say, cloud cafeterias. So that will narrow down your list a lot, and your messaging will be much more focused on them. We are reaching out to the owner of the local plumbing company. Okay. And they will give you much feedback. So if you are local, then you tend people will tend to take you more seriously. uh, they will basically treat you a bit better. Many times if you go broad or out of your city, you will see people will not respond to you very well. Okay. If you high school counselors supporting juniors or seniors, so you're only talking to high school counselors, no one else. Or maybe something like seniors plus caregivers who arrange rides to appointments. So again, very focused. Okay, I wrote some. I got some time, so I wrote some messaging. You might have seen this, and if you have seen the presentation before, I've tweaked the messaging a little. Of if I was in your situation, what I would do. Okay, uh, so there was a company called Dashed, and if you are, let's say, reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, now see you are a B2C company. What it seemed to me like, not exactly B2B, uh, but you are reaching out to people who recently hosted a party. So what will you write? How will you write it?
Hey,
Yeah.
Akshat,
Yeah.
I will, after each of these companies, I'll give it to the company. If they have any questions, they can ask you.
Sure. Sounds good. Okay. So when you're reaching out to, let's say you're reaching out to someone, this is first of all how you should write the message. So let's say I hosted a party. So it will be, hi Akshat, saw you hosted a cycling event uh, in New York, for example. Now, the moment I read that line, I have an impression in my mind that this person has looked into me. It's not a mass copy paste message. Because what happens is, and you might have observed it in your own behavior, at least subconsciously, if the if someone is putting in effort to communicate to you, to reach out to you, you will put the effort to reply sometimes. But the moment you feel it's a computer generated message, it's a mass copy paste, a bombarding, so you will not respond to them. So the idea of the first line is to quickly get their attention and tell the person, hey, I looked into you. Okay, so I did put in the effort. Now a lot of AI does it these days, but this critical point, even with AI, you have to kind of get done. Then you might say, hey, I'm a student building bashed, a simpler way to plan event plus coordinate vendors. Now over here there's a bit of psychology. If you are reaching out to people who are, let's say, not students, or sometimes students, basically everyone have a positive view about students. Okay, like you don't have a positive view about salespeople, or some other kind of people, but you always have a positive view about students. You always want to help them. So if that is kind of your advantage, you can kind of mention it when you want someone to give you advice. But if you want to sell someone that about something, you don't want to highlight the fact that you're a student, because that might mean okay, you don't have much experience. So over here the goal is to get an interview from the person, so you can reach out to them saying something like this. Then you can ask a question. If you want, this is optional, but it depends on your personal style. So you might ask, hey, what was the most annoying part? Invites, timing, vendors, or last minute changes. Uh, and then you have a call to action where you say, hey, can I ask two questions quickly on a 10-minute call? Call to action is very important because the person will say, hey, yes or no. Now, another part of the call to action should be, it should be easier, very easy to do. Okay. So over here, it's still easy. Like person can give you his cell phone number and you can just call him. Um, but the idea is not asking them for too much. It's just asking them 10 minutes of the time, which might work, especially when you're in B2C. But in B2B, if you do 10 minutes of time, you will not, people will not give you, uh, because, B2B businesses, uh, they do get a lot of these messages and they are not some many times the tendency to help that much. Okay, then is the interview pitch. So that we can discuss later, but if you want, Anurag, you can give the question to someone, to the company. And
So I'm giving it to the Bash team, so they may ask you a question. If it's not audible, let me know.
yeah,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Okay, hi. So the LinkedIn message, it's for like to like get people to like, you know what your company is, right? Or just like, because
Oh,
LinkedIn.
hmm.
Sorry, continue.
Sorry, go on. You mean to say LinkedIn as a platform is something so that people know about your company? That is the question.
Yeah, like the whole point of the 6 line message is to like, I guess like gain traction for your company, correct?
Yes. So, with LinkedIn, you do have an option to connect with people and send them a message. What, by the way, you can do the same thing on Instagram. Uh, matlab this is, or email or any other channel. For B2C, it works on Instagram as well. But let's assume it's for both LinkedIn and Instagram. The idea is to reach out to people. If you want, if your goal is to interview people who recently hosted a party, okay, and basically check if they, if whatever you were thinking the most annoying part of the party was, uh, is exactly what for them the most annoying part of the party was. So if you are going maybe after small, um, independent companies, or like some people you will find on Instagram, but whenever you start going towards larger companies that do events where the event itself is a big deal, you might have to reach out to them on LinkedIn. You have to figure out, okay, who is the event manager, who is the event coordinator, then you connect with them, and then you send a message like this.
So this could
You
be done on like any like, I guess like communicating platform or like social media.
Yes, 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 you're right. Email, Instagram, email, LinkedIn, anything where you can just send this, and uh, you can ask someone to request someone to have a call with you,
Okay,
basically.
got it. Thank you.
So I just want to iterate one thing. I think what you're saying is the primary goal of this 6 line message is to get the interview, right? That's the
Yes.
primary goal of this message, is to get the interview. And so if you get the interview, this worked. Okay, and then what you do in the interview, they have a different goal. But the whole goal of this is to get the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Akshay. And one last thing, like sometimes, I think even for B2B businesses, saying that you're looking for advice breaks the barrier. If you start saying that I'm going to sell my product or talk about my product, that's a very tough sell for any cold outreach. So I think if you get to know somebody, then they trust you, and in that discussion, you get to know what their problems are. So I think this is always a good tactics no matter what. The people are always willing to help and give advice, but if you say I'm going to sell something, there's always a shield. Go ahead, Akshay. Thank you.
So I want
Yes.
to clarify when Ashish said interview, it's
Okay.
already
One
Yes.
more. Sure.
I just want to understand. So just to help you guys understand, when Ashish said interview, you get an interview, it's all about lead generation. okay? So you're getting an interview for lead generation. So it could be potentially, a customer, it could be a feedback loop, it could be anything, but it is a lead generation basically, okay?
So like outreach, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, Akshay. Thank you.
Okay. B2B. So B2B is a bit more of where we specialize in. Uh, I felt EcoPlate was a B2B outreach because you're reaching out to other businesses. Uh, Many times, especially even in the previous one in Bashed, if you want to reach out to a very large senior executive who hosts event, who might be throwing very big events, really have budget for software, you will be able to find them mostly on LinkedIn itself. So on LinkedIn, this kind of messages will work. You can keep them as a control variant, meaning you can A/B test this against your own kind of message. Okay. If someone says yes, if someone does not give you the number, you can of course always message them back on LinkedIn. They say, hey, ask me the two questions over here, etc. Maybe he's not available for a call. Then of course you can send something like, hey, thanks, we are students building a planning tool. We are not here to pitch. We are here to learn. And you just uh, give your questions. Okay. In B2B, most people there's a lower chance you will be able to find people on LinkedIn. You might be able to find them, sorry, you might not be able to find B2B people on Instagram, but you will be able to find them on email and LinkedIn. Okay. Um, Especially for larger companies. Again, if you see the format is similar, it will be hi name. I saw you manage dining operations at this organization in the city. And then you ask the question, whatever the problem is. Hey, do you feel that your perfectly fine food goes to waste just because? I'm sorry about the typo over here. I was just writing it because many guests didn't visit whatever the outlet name is. Again, the idea of this is, by the way, AI can fill these curly bracket items very easily, and it can give you or whoever the people in your team a message to send. Okay, then the next line might be, "Hi, I'm a student working at EcoPlate. Students reserve low cost rescue boxes via QR code and pick up with a code. Uh, you keep full control. Staff backs it. We don't touch the food." Okay, this is the a little bit more critical part is the call to action. Generally, people who are in businesses tend do not to have time. So you might ask them, "Hey, would you like to know more?" I'm not asking for a call over here. The reason I'm not asking for a call over here, people are very hesitant to give uh, time slots to other people because that interrupts their time. It takes their mental energy away. Uh, a lot of things, so they avoid having calls, and it sometimes interrupts their day and what they're doing. So many times you might say, hey, would you like to know more about how this service can be a win-win? Why we do that? Because everyone is like, if it sounds interesting, people will say, hey, yes, I would like to know more. And then you have a reason to follow up with that person. Okay, you showed interest one. Now if this person starts ghosting, you can keep following up with those people, because if you reached out to, let's say, 100 people, and out of the 100 people, 5 people replied wanting more information. So okay, these 5 people I have to follow up again on, because they at least they showed some interest. So it is kind of automatically it build a shortlist. Again, whatever the next message, you have to keep the next message prepared if they say yes and you want to send whatever the information is. uh, okay, so what happens a lot is that many people, at least the age we are in, people say that, hey, I don't want to come on a call. Everything can be told digitally. Every thing can be showed digitally, especially after the lockdowns, people experienced it. So I don't want to come on the call. I might be interested. So send me more information beforehand. I will figure out if it is valuable for me. If it is not valuable for me, I saved my time because I will not come on a call with you. But if it is valuable for me, then I can come on a call and then I can maybe go and purchase whatever you're selling or partner up with you, whatever the thing is. So make sure whenever you're sending the information message, the next sales asset that you send, which will kind of do the pre-sales of what you guys do, that thing should be really well, because looking at that, maybe the website, or looking at the PDF that you might send to them, or at the video that you send to them, they will determine if you are good or not. And if you are good, only then they might say, hey, okay, I saw whatever you sent me. Great, now let's have a call because I know you might have something of value for me. So you want to kind of show the value uh, before you go on the call. To my consulting clients, what we say is, so for us, a typical consulting client is who wants to sell their, generally they're selling software, or they're generally selling some sort of a report, who are selling something to corporate. So they may be selling something to uh, let's say the let's say all companies who have maybe 1,000+ employees, and they're selling something for $50,000. So what we say is, whenever someone says, hey, I want more information, when we reach out to them on LinkedIn or cold email, you create a PDF or a video that kind of shows whatever your process is, whatever your thing is, it's worth $50,000. Because if you are able to present that in a way where you show, okay, the ROI of this is uh, $50,000, and you can prove it in that PDF, then the person will be like, hey, maybe they have something of interest. And whenever you have a call and you finally pitch the price, there might not be very much of a sticker shock, or they will not go into a line of questioning where they start asking, hey, where is the value? So basically, you want to pre-sell, uh, you want to kind of pre-sell before someone comes on a call, so that they don't start questioning the value on the call. Otherwise, the calls can also go bad, because they can say, hey, your idea is junk. Oh, what, I remember someone told me, hey, whatever you do, chat GPT does the same thing. uh, so that is now that the reason that was because I only had 30 minutes on the call to convince them, which is many times very less to convince someone. So you want to kind of pre-sell them, so that when they come on the call, the conversation is more mature, they know about you, and they see that this is exactly how they add value. And they look at you in a way where they say, okay, this person has something of value that they will uh, share with me. Okay. Guys, any question from the previous team? Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we just started reaching out to UCI, but we still haven't heard back yet. Would you suggest that we just start like reaching out to other college campuses, or we were thinking about like getting validation from UCI first and then continuing to reach out to other colleges, but what would you suggest we do next?
Two things. How many people have you reached out to, and how have you reached out to them?
Sorry, do you mind repeating the question?
How many people have you reached out to, and how have you reached out to them?
Yeah, well, we went to UCI about like 2 weeks ago, or around that time, and we went to the dining halls and found a contact for the manager. And so we've been emailing them we like followed up with them a couple times, but still haven't heard back. But that was our initial outreach so far.
So just for the context, Akshat, UCI is right next door. So this is the university where we are based. So they just went personally and got hold of a manager and his email, and he hasn't responded. So I guess one thing that Akshat showed was you should expect 1 out of 100 response is a good thing. So I think you should definitely expand your outreach to other dining halls. How you do it, maybe Akshat, do you have any comments?
Yeah. I think you should try to fetch a list of contacts of your target persona from the internet. You can use ChatGPT help of ChatGPT. I nationwide you might have 500 people. You first start maybe from California, try to reach out to them. Then you go to 500 people. Uh, and I'll show you how you can use AI for that. But basically, reach out to 500 people and then you figure out how many people respond. Many times, it's very easy to have a response rate of less than 2%. So the volume might be the missing part, and you can use a message very similar to what I'm suggesting. They should very well have a response rate above 2%. That means for every 100 people you reach out to, you might get two positive responses with a message like this. Um, but still, I will suggest you reach out to anywhere from 200 to 500 people so that you can test the messaging. Uh, Reach out to them on both on cold email and LinkedIn, because some people open LinkedIn, some people open emails. So people also have a preference of which channel they use.
Okay, thank you. And we can use that same like LinkedIn 6-line message for an email. Like that could be a good template too for email.
Yes, I'll also, if I get the chance, I might show you how you can do that. Who are you reaching out to? Exactly, who's your persona?
College campus dining hall managers.
So the way you want to do it is, okay, so you're going after colleges, right? What you, how many colleges might be there in the US?
About, about 10,000 big colleges, maybe, I don't know,
So
10,000.
with a large capital, let's just say. Okay, so there's, let's assume there are 4,000 of them. What you want to do in step number one is you want to get a list of all the 4,000 colleges. So you might want to look of all the colleges in USA. Okay, so you there are many directories that might help you. Uh, so you want to get that list. Once you have the list of college names, then for each college, you want to find their contact information. Uh, so these are all the colleges. I'm not so sure if you can, it's zoomed in enough that you can see my screen. Okay. These are all the colleges. And you basically either you can Google your way or you can use very either affordable tools like Apollo.io, where what they do is they have a database. So you go in there, uh, they are, and you kind of mention who you want to reach out to, or who you are looking for, and it will kind of give you a list of all the people that fit that criteria. Okay. uh, I think their pricing, they start free, so there's a $0 plan, but eventually if your needs are larger, you can go for a small plan where they might give you 2,000 contacts, and then you reach out to them both on LinkedIn and email. uh, so this is how you can go about it. um, does that help a little?
Yes, thank you so much.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
So you're very fortunate. So you're very fortunate in the sense that you have your customer on your doorstep. So what I would suggest you do is you actually create a player profile, which is you go into the cafeteria here, you understand the people who employ there, and you can actually then point out influencers who can influence and basically amplify the message that you want to get across to the decision makers. Okay? So you can make a map out of the people there, who they are, what their role is, and if they're going to be extractor or an influencer. If they're an influencer, you work with them. They will then influence the manager. Okay, so what happens there is you go to a very, very strategic, targeted approach because you have the customer here, right? So you can do that quite easily. These are kind of like more of a kind of what's called more of a shotgun approach, where you have a lower rate of return. So how can you improve your rate of return? You have to get influencers in that account on your side. Okay? So you can create a thing that I say called a player profile, and from there you'll know who to speak to because they're going to influence, and then when you pitch to them, they will then sell internally. You are no longer doing the selling, they're selling it for you, which is a stronger amplifier than you going there yourself.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Just go ahead.
By the way, I agree with his approach. Try to first physically reach out to people. That's much more easier. They trust you more. That's why many times going to events outperform the approach that I'm suggesting you. Our approach is generally better if you either can't visit them in person or you have to scale outside your country or outside your physical locality where you can reach out to. So his approach, whoever was mentioning, was much better. And what he was talking, I think, was about understand how the organization operates. That becomes very important later because then then you learn a bit more about the system that you're selling into. So I do agree with the approach of the person um, that they mentioned. Okay, I'll just go. Okay, so whenever you're writing the message, the very first thing you want to do is you want to avoid the copy paste. Like if the person feel that whatever message you have sent them, or imagine if someone is sending you a message, you can very easily figure out if someone has handwritten that message or it was a mass copy paste that was sent to everyone. Everyone has that subconscious understanding. And the reason to avoid that copy paste is that people will not reply to you unless they feel, number one, that message is only for them or very relevant to them. And B, if you have not put in the effort. Because if you have not put in the effort, they will not put the effort to reply to you. So the way to bypass this copy paste is try to pick one real detail from their profile. So maybe they made a post on whichever social platform of your choice is. You say, hey, I saw your recent post about this. So the person knows, okay, you know, they have looked into me before sending me this unsolicited message. You can talk about their location. You can talk about the whatever work they do. You can talk about news they were a part of, or event they were a part of. But anything that is personal to them, you personalize based on that. And also, very important part: whenever you're selling, don't ask for a call directly, especially in B2B, uh, because then many times what will happen is people will stop engaging with you because you're asking sometimes for too much. You can try asking for a call if it works for you, great. But if it's not working for you, stop asking for a call and instead start pitching, you know, can I send you more information? Whichever this one line is, that this line will add trust that, okay, this person has looked into me, and it will increase your response rate. Like if you reach out to someone, their tendency to reply. So you can use something like this. The first line you can say, hey, I saw your post, I saw you work in this role, I saw uh, that you were part of this event, I saw you guys do this, so I saw. Then you maybe have one line of the problem, whatever problem they might be facing, and the solution what you might be solving. This is very basic. And towards the end you ask, hey, if you're doing an interview, can I have 10 minutes? Because people will, to give advice, people might have a call with you. But if you're trying to sell, you might want to say, hey, do you want to know more? Only then people will kind of register their interest. Okay, I jumped a little. Okay, so we're gonna kind of do a demo, especially on LinkedIn, um, of how we reach out to people and how we do it. Okay, so if you have not gone on LinkedIn, you can basically what you can do is you can just search over here something like, and you can select the location. So let me select the location. You can press all filters over here. Whoever you're reaching out to, let's say I'll put. I can put whoever my target persona is. I can say, hey, I want only people in this location, and I have a list of, seems like a very long list. And then what I can do is I can start looking into their profiles. Uh, Whoever seems relevant to me, I can send them a connection request over here, asking them to connect. Once I have a connection built with them, then I can directly have a way where I can message them. Okay. I can click message and it will allow me to. Now I have a paid subscription of a tool called Sales Navigator. But if you don't have, Sales Navigator, then you have to connect with people. With Sales Navigator, you don't have to connect. As you see, even if the person is not connected, I can write them a email or uh, a message over here in LinkedIn. As you see, I have 162 credits. So if I show you how I personally do it, uh, I'll show you a personal outreach of how we reach out to let's say people. Okay. Hopefully this is not. So by the way, my team is doing it on my behalf. Um, so for whatever work we do, this is the exact message as you see someone sent on Thursday from my profile. The pitch, just to add context, the pitch over here is, hey, you are visiting conferences, and many times so when a company puts up a booth in a conference, they're spending a lot of money. They might be spending more than $50,000. $10,000 might be the cost of their booth. Uh, Other cost might be to fly their team in, set them up in hotels, design the booth, etc., and everything else. So events is a very big spend for B2B companies. What we help them do is, like, before they set up a booth, we reach out to everyone in the market so that when their target audience comes into the conference and they see their booth, they have a conversation and then they can start their sales journey. So I reached out to this person of a company called 3Kit saying, hi, uh, I'm not able to pronounce his name, but uh, Joachim, when their company exhibits at events like this. So what I'm trying to do is I say, okay, hey, when your company exhibits at events like this, I'm helping him visualize which events I can help you with. And also I'm showing, hey, I've looked into your company and where you guys exhibit. And how we did that, I'll kind of try to show it to you as well. Do you rely mostly on booth walk-ins or do you try to line up conversations in advance? Um, I help teams replace wait and hope booth traffic with pre-planned high-fit event meetings using a simple pre-event outreach system. We run uh, systems run internally by their own team. The only prerequisite is access to the delegate list. Happy to share the approach if relevant. So this is what we uh, reach out to people with. How we track this is, let me see if I can find how we track all this and how we do this. And by that time, I think I should be able to done with this. Guys, any questions before I move forward?
So I wanted to ask, when you're doing this process, it'd be helpful to know exactly what each message's primary goal is. So that can be helpful to each of the teams for whatever they're drafting to keep in mind what their next goal is from that message. Because most of the people here, they're not really selling yet, but they will have a goal of learning more, whatever their case is, to just keeping that in mind, what the next step is.
Yeah. So they're generally, according, it seems like there might be generally two steps. Step number one, it would either be to interview the customer you're reaching out to. So if that is the goal, you talk about, hey, can I have a call with you? But rest stays the same. That I looked something into you. I'm a student. This is how we help. So if you're asking for an interview, whereas if you're not asking for an interview and you want to go for the kill and you want, hey, I want to sell, show traction, build revenue, then maybe you don't want to talk for an interview. Then what you have to do is you want people to show interest in your product. So then you talk about, hey, I saw you do this. This is probably a problem you guys have. This is our solution. Do you want to know more? And whoever says, do I want to know more? You kind of know they have some bit of interest in this. Even if they will not buy it today, they might buy 6 months later. So the goal will have to come from the founding team, whoever the group of students is. Like, are they in a stage where they want to interview the customer, or are they in a stage where they want to sell to the customer? If they want to interview the customer, just ask for the call. If they want to sell to the customer, ask if the customer wants more information. Um, yes, that's. I hope did I hope I answered. I hope I answered that question.
Do you guys have any other questions you want to ask before we jump to the next thing? No? All right, I'll check. Go ahead.
Okay, so uh, so one way how we track all this is, so when you're doing something at scale like this, you have to track whatever inputs you did. So this is how we uh, this is how we might track. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Right. So we figure out how many LinkedIn invites we sent, or if you're doing email, we will talk about how many emails we sent. So how many invites we sent, how many invites got accepted, what is the ratio of them? Uh, okay, invite sent, invite accepted, and how many messages we sent to reach out in that particular week. We'll also kind of put the minutes of the meeting, what we discussed, what we plan to do next week. How many messages we sent, how many positive responses we got. So we've got 3 positive responses out of 50. That means our lead rate, that is 3 divided by 52, is 5%. That means that means, for every 100 messages we send, we will get 5 responses using this current message. And of course, we can then do a cost per lead of how much we are spending on our salaries and how many leads we got. Then we can come up with cost per lead by dividing salaries by leads. So this is how we track our outreach. The way AI helps us today is, I'll quickly show how AI helps us today. Okay. I think after this, I should be able to wrap up the thing. So over here I have a list. I think someone was talking about how do you find information at scale about a particular company. So we use a tool called Clay. What it does, if you want to reach out to a company, let's say there's a company called Remote Eye, and I want to figure out. Okay, so this list, uh, I have a list of. Okay, this is a different file, but I have a long list of companies over here. I want to figure out at which conference did every company go. So I can use what I called something like a perplexity agent, or a web research agent, where I can say, hey, compile me a list of conferences where this company, where it puts the name of the company dynamically, go and search where have they basically put up their booth or sponsored a conference. So basically go and do these multiple searches. So, what it does, if I click on it, it will show me the steps it will take. Step one, I went on Google, I searched remote eye booth conference. These were the results I got. Then I clicked on the results. And based on this data, these are the two conferences where they went. So now I can take this information, put it into the next agent, which kind of creates the message. Similar to over here, I can prompt AI. Basically, hey, create me a outreach message, uh, pitching whatever I want to pitching a conference outreach system to the company, and in the company I can put, if I can put a backslash, and I can put, this is dynamically put the company name over here, and I can put all this data and the conferences they went to were, okay, sorry, save and do not run. Hold on. Now, of course, this prompt is not what we use, but I'm just trying to show you a very quick demo of how this is done. So it will, as you see, if I click, it has created a message. Basically, I noticed your strong presence at Vision Expo West. I'm not so sure if you guys are able to see it, but in Orlando, etc. So if I click over here, this is the conferences they went to: Vision Expo West and AAO. Uh, Similarly, to the next person, it will be a different message. So I can now copy paste this message or add another column to send this message into an automation tool that can send these messages out. But again, all of this, you first have to figure out what message you want to send, what is your goal, what you want to interview the people, whatever you want to do. So I think that was basically it. That was my presentation. My suggestion would be pick one target person, write one 6-line message like I showed you, send 30 messages. Actually, if you guys are facing a hard time, go from 30 to 300 messages as a team. Try to get a few conversations and try to uh, get someone to buy. So this was, I think this was basically it. So if you guys have questions, you can let me know.
Akshat, for the other teams that we didn't present ideas on, I'm gonna pass the mic around to see if they have any specific questions about the wording of the outreach that they should do and so forth.
You can also open it up to other audience if they have any questions and feedback.
So, team over here, do you guys have any questions that you're gonna ask about outreach? Okay, team over here, I know we have blended team. Do you guys have any questions? Outreach, wording? No?
Hello, so for our company, we are trying to,
Speak a bit louder.
okay, for our company, we're trying to, bring like support and transportation for elderly individuals, especially when they're in need of transportation like medical services and things like that. We're thinking about reaching out to, elderly communities such as retirement homes and things like that. How should we phrase it so that we can like kind of, get testimonial from them versus say reaching out to a hospital to like see how it appeals to those different audiences.
Anurag, do you mind repeating the question once?
So, how should the language change to be optimal for like an elderly population for testimonials versus say reaching out to a hospital? Because our company is basically a transportation company for elderly individuals to
Okay,
No
so
matter what, for instance, about.
first of all, I'm not very sure if elderly individuals how much they are on digital platforms. But if they are on digital platforms, and if you have provided them a service, you might have some level of friendship with them. So you can just, I think that will be a very different conversation that either you can have face to face, or you can text them, hey, how are you doing? And can you, if they say I'm doing good, then you can ask for a testimonial. If you are reaching out to a hospital, and the question, if you're reaching out to the hospital, you're trying to sell the service of to a hospital? Is that what we are trying to do?
I think we're trying to establish whether it's a need or not to see if we can gain more funding.
So basically what their idea is, Akshat, that they provide help to the elderlies to set up their medical appointments, take them to hospital and do things like that. So they want to go both to the elderly people as well as healthcare facilities which kind of provide them services. So that's kind of, so if I get you right, your question is how should those two different messages be articulated, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, hospitals, you, mm, okay. So let's try to do a live thing for hospitals. Uh, I think I had I did make a presentation before, which had a copy for you guys, but let me see. Yeah. You are, the company is Access Care, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's try to do a new copy. Okay. Um, okay. So, you're reaching out to the hospital. Let's assume you are reaching out to the, uh, let's say you're reaching out to the travel desk, and let's say the name of the person at the travel desk is Anurag. Okay. So, hi, Anurag. Noticed you support seniors, and let's say this hospital specializes in arthritis. Okay. I notice you support seniors with their with their chronic, and I'm not very good with spelling, so please forgive me for that. Right. Yes. Okay. Okay. So you might want to say something like this: hey, I noticed you support seniors with their chronic arthritis. Now this line chronic arthritis might be different for different hospitals. Okay, so that's why I'm putting it in brackets. um, and let's say you directly want to, you don't want to tell you are a student, you directly want to do the sale, and then you basically pitch, then um, we so we basically schedule uh, drivers to take seniors to appointments and wait for their round trip. You can put your own line, like what you guys exactly do. um, Okay. So you might say, hey, notice you support seniors with their chronic arthritis. Many times, senior citizens want to visit, but are unable to visit because they are unable to book a Uber, or they are unable to book a Uber or get access to a car. Again, apologies. Okay. Then you say, hey, we basically help we basically help them to schedule drivers who take seniors to appointments. Do you want to know more how this service can improve your no shows? Okay. So you might want to personalize the first line, something like that, and you might want to say something like this so that they say, hey, yes, I want to know more. And once you know who wants to know more, you try to give them a call or try to sell them, try to share more information online. Did that answer the question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Akshay. Next is group. Do you guys have any questions? So have Akshay hands-on walk you through an example.
Hi, I'm Anish, and my group is Nexus. We're a mentorship platform that helps connect students to mentors through our web app. And one idea that we're exploring for our financial model is reaching out to institutions to offer internships. So how would we go about contacting institutions to actually get opportunities to, like for them to get our business and use our database?
Your voice, I don't know. Sorry, you have to repeat once again. Your voice was too low. I could not get it. What is the name of the company?
So our company's name is Nexus, and we're a mentorship platform that connects students to mentors. And one idea that we had was contacting institutions to help them with finding interns on our website. So how do we go about sending messages to the institutions, like as you said, a business-to-business communication, so they want to get our business?
Yeah, sure. I will. Let me share that as well. You want to reach out to institutions so that they can find interns on your platform.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and why do institutes want to get interns? Can you elaborate on the idea?
Yeah, so the institutions would want to get interns to help them with certain tasks to make their company more efficient and also give students an opportunity to get integrated into their system.
Oh, so you're reaching out to companies. When you say reaching out to institutions, you mean you're reaching out to corporate companies to get interns. That is the idea.
Yeah, we're aiming to connect professionals in different institutes to students. So essentially, all we're trying to do is streamline the already existing cold emailing process and create a platform where you can directly match and have a higher chance of interns being with professionals.
Okay, so okay, that if I got that right, it should be quite easy. It will say hi name. So let's say you are reaching out to someone named John. Hi John. Saw that your company does data engineering services. Uh, Finding good data engineers um, are hard in whatever city you're in, let's say California. We have, you might want to say names. So you have 180,000 plus students from institutes, from colleges, like whatever colleges you want to say. Okay, so let's say MIT, etc. Uh, can can I share a few um, CVs or projects um, of our top candidates uh, who would love to work, who would love to work at, and then you put the company name. So let's say company name is uh, data tech. Okay. You can write a message like this. Of course, you can work with ChatGPT on this, but this is the gist of it. Uh,
So if you look at the previous slide that Akshat showed, he showed you the formula, right? The formula is introduce yourself, and make sure it doesn't look like it's copy and paste. Define the problem, right? Give them the solution and ask for the call to action. So that's what he's doing, he's following the formula he gave you.
this is the formula.
Right, so in the case of your internships, he followed this exact formula.
Also, what you guys can, if you want to hack it, you might have. I can share these slides. You can give these slides as examples to ChatGPT, and it can help you come up with your outreach message. While you don't need anything else.
Alright, Serve Aqua or Solar Group, you guys have any questions? Anyone ask? Anybody else from other teams want to ask any final questions? Mentors, do you guys have any questions?
I have a question. You have a question? Yeah.
Wait, I know you said that we should like reach out to people on LinkedIn, but if ours is in like, for an example, like the home gardening space, do you like recommend us to reach out to like smaller companies or like larger companies to like get more responses?
So you maybe give context of what company is it?
Okay, so our idea is called Serve Aqua. Basically, so far the idea is that that we're making like a product which basically is like a smart sprinkler, and it like reads soil moisture, like weather and all sorts of like data, and it also reads the plant type, and then it like specifies the amount of water it gives to each plant.
Okay, that's the context. And the question is, you want to reach out to. See, sometimes if you have a physical product, you don't need everything. See, whatever I'm doing generally is, if you have a physical product, you can sometimes just go to the right person, present the product, because many times the people you might be looking for might not be on LinkedIn. So in that case, you have to email them. But once again, I'm not sure if I answered your question, because if you have a physical product, it's better to put your own video and just send either people the video or just show them the product, because physical product sales kind of works a little differently than digital product sales. A lot of what we do is digital product. Physical product videos work much better. People, so make a video, reach out to people with, maybe your call to action could be, hey, do you want to see a video? If you find that person, and if that person is not on LinkedIn, everyone is on email for sure. And whichever channel, if they're on Facebook, Instagram, that research you might have to do.
Answer your question? Is that yes? Okay.
We had one
Any
more question.
final questions?
I think we had one more question, right? Somebody else's?
We had one more group, Scalera. You guys had any questions?
I have one last question. So, you mentioned that people often have favorable responses to students, right? And that is giving you a leg up straight away. Anything else like that you can share that you found will immediately give you attention in the way that you want, specifically because this is a 12-week program, right? And we're sort of halfway through the program. So there's a limited amount of what you can do and achieve in this time period, even though there's a lot because of the help and the tools that we have now. Any other secret hacks like that that immediately get you attention, particularly if you're looking at a program like this?
Location. Location is very big. Uh, if you say you live very near to the person you're selling to, he will pay attention. If you're living, if let's say whoever you're selling to, you live in the same building and you reach out to them, and if that message gets their attention, knowing that you live in the same building, you will get that. So location is very big. People have a favorable view of students. People have a favorite. So you see, very easy. Just ask if I'm not able to come up with. Sometimes Chat GPT knows you, so you can ask it what things of mine people might have a favorable view of. For another thing is if you're going to an event, someone told me that okay, that people are not responding to my outreach. If you guys are going to the same event and you say, hey, you will be at that event, people are gonna free. I will be at the event. Let's catch up and kind of follow the same formula. You will have a lot of meetings because uh, the relevance is very high. The relevance will be very high. That okay, I'm gonna meet this person. I'm gonna see this person. Not replying to them is a reply, and I don't want to maybe annoy that person by not replying to them. So if the person knows you will see them, that is also a very big uh, leverage point.
Very interesting. Thank you.
So Akshat, thanks a lot. I think I actually, even though I work with Akshat, I think I get inspired whenever I talk to him because he has this energy and ideas all the time. And it's a testimonial, like we have actually become friends and I learned quite a bit because he's basically, he comes from a background, I mean, he has actually looked at your 6 business plans and even in the short time, give very pointed advice. So thanks a lot, Akshat, for spending, like it's almost midnight in India, so spending 1.5 hours with us. And I'll let the students kind of digest what you have told them, and then if we have questions, we'll direct some questions to you. So maybe one big applause for Akshat. Thank you, Akshat. Thank you, and so we'll take a break now, Akshat, and thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I have your guys' attention up at the screen real quick? We're going to go through a quick activity and then you guys can get back into your breakout groups. So real quick on activity 2. So I know we've been working through our slides. Last week we had 3 slides that we did, but I want to give you guys the full framework of what your pitches will need to evolve to by the end of the course, just to give you guys a little bit more structure. So one that I always recommend using, Guy Kawasaki has a great template. So we'll go through this, what your key slides need to be, and then for today's pitching, I'm gonna have you guys amp up to 7 slides that we'll use at the end of the presentations, okay? So let me go to the link. Let's go here. Okay, so very straightforward. We're gonna go through. You guys already all have this right now, your title slide. This is just showing what your company is, your name. If you have a slogan, you're gonna put your slogan on this slide, okay? Then your problem opportunity slide. This one you guys have already nailed down. This one's what you need to be starting your presentation with. So right off of the bat, they know the story that you're trying to convey, the problem that you're trying to solve for. Then the next one we haven't added into the deck yet, but I want to make sure you guys have one dedicated slide for this, is your value proposition slide. This is really going to explain what type of pain that you're alleviating and why is your product important. Then the underlying magic. This is kind of your how it works slide. What's your secret sauce? what's unique about your product. And this is where you would typically have like a prototype or your demo or a video for like your ones that are the physical products. This is where you would put that information. Okay, any questions so far? So that one. Next one is the business model. You guys have already worked on the framework of it when we did the BMC example a few weeks back, but really what this should be doing is just explaining how are you going to be making money, right? And what this would be like where you'd be putting, let's say, like your pricing of your product, the breakdown, if you have different tiers, you're showing the different tiers on this slide and explaining to, this is like what your VCs want to know, how are you going to make money off of this product? Then the next slide that you would have is your go-to-market plan. So this is essentially how you're going to reach the customer. So very similar to when you're going through the lead generation process. This is where you want to go into detail and say, okay, how am I actually going to reach my customer? Like, for example, if you had parents that you're trying to reach out to, how are you going to do that? Like, are you going to be going to every single PTA meeting and just blasting your product and doing pitches that way? Are you going to be, let's say if your product's sports related, you're going to be going to every single sports game and putting it on billboards, you name it. So this is where you just have to explain, how are you going to go viral with your product? How are you going to reach the masses? Then your competitive analysis. So this is where you're going to show how you rank against your other competitors in the space. What makes you different, right? So a lot of times this is where I recommend you have like a matrix that shows essentially where you're at compared to all the other players in the space. And really what you want to be able to highlight is like your key features that set you apart. So like if you had a matrix, ideally for yourself, you'd be like, okay, check mark, check mark, check mark, all these are green. And then you'd see your other competitors in the space, they might have X's on different features. So then it's visually very, very clear what makes you guys better than everybody else. Does that make sense? Yes? Can I get some nods? Yes? Yeah? Okay, cool. All right, then is your management team. A lot of times people, investors, they want to see what are you bringing to the table, right? What makes your group unique and why should they trust you to invest money into you? Because I mean, VCs are going to be investing millions of dollars into you, so they want to know what makes you special, right? And so this will be just typically a slide that has the pictures of your guys' team members, and then underneath might have just a really quick one-liner bio telling you like, okay, this is my position within my company. Let's say you're the CTO or you're the CEO. And then it might have just a super quick blurb about like what your background is. Let's say you're somebody who's studying engineering, so you're the engineer of the team. Or let's say that you are specializing in marketing. That's where you'd put that little description of yourself there. Okay? Then the next slide that you need to have is the financial projections. So we haven't gotten into this too much yet. We will touch base on this one in one of the upcoming lectures, but you will have a slide that has usually your 3 to 5 year projections to show essentially how that process of making money is going to be ramping up, and your conversion rate from your customers and actually making dollars. Does that make sense? We'll get into this one in more detail coming up, but at least for now, you'll have like a placeholder for this one. Then the last slide that you typically will have, and this one can be broken up into 2 slides, but you'll have essentially a current status, accomplishments, timeline, and a use of funds. So this tells your investors where you're at in the process. Let's say you've already gone through all the way through your MVP, you've had some traction, let's say you've already done 200K in sales, that's where you want to highlight this here, and kind of show that timeline evolution from the time that you started with the initial, let's say, development process all the way until where you're at today. They need to see that visually to see that you guys are actually making progress, and that's something that they should invest in. And lastly, you have to include an ask. So a lot of times this ask is financially based, right? You might be asking for money, but sometimes it's specific resources that you need. Let's say that you need connections to a certain network. You can ask for it here. Let's say you need $1 million in funding. You would ask for it here. So that's where you need to convey that and end your pitches with that. You have to have an ask clearly defined in order for them to be able to be like, okay, this is how I'm going to help you moving forward from the VC perspective. Okay? Any questions? I know I went through this super fast, but I'll have the link for this in the slides so you guys can go back and refer to it as well. So during this time, I'll have you guys work on that outreach strategy, the activity that Akshat had highlighted. Go through, pick your target person. You can go ahead and create a 6-line message. Try not to use the exact same one that Akshat wrote for both or all of you guys, because he does have them all in here for you guys, but be creative with it. And then for homework this week, try sending these out. Reach out to as many people as possible with a more personalized message, so you can actually get more conversations based on those MVPs that you guys created. And then second, for the mentors, if you guys can just help them work on building out those slides. So I know we already have slides 1 through 3. Go ahead and get through, we're gonna do up until your go-to-market plan today, okay? All right, sounds good. Go ahead and get back into your groups, and then you guys can use this time as your working session, and at 12 p.m., we're gonna reconvene, and you guys are going to practice your pitches again, okay?
Marianne, how much time will they have for their pitches?
We're gonna try to keep it to 5 minutes, so a little under a minute per slide. Okay. All right, break. Thank you guys.